Hey everybody, it's Jake, the beloved intern of Antioch Georgetown. When I first found out about the internship at Antioch Georgetown, I was a senior in high school. I was graduating from my senior year and I was only 17. I wasn't old enough to be an intern here. I had to be at least 18. That was the age requirement. So when I became old enough, I didn't apply for the internship immediately. I wanted to use the summer that I had after my freshman year of college to make a little extra money and work, so I didn't apply immediately for the internship. I started praying about it when I was finishing up my second semester in college. There was a specific Sunday that I came back to Antioch Conway to go to church with my parents and just hang out for the weekend, and Andy was preaching. So Andy was up on stage, still from the previous sermon. He was talking to the worship pastor. I said, okay, God, if I'm supposed to apply for this internship, have Andy come over to me. Sure enough, I was the very first person he walked over to when he got off the stage to say hey to. I knew Stephen pretty well. I knew that he was already down here. He was my middle school pastor at Antioch Conway. Ben was the worship intern at Antioch Conway and was one of my sponsors one year at SOAR conference. Now I didn't know Andy super well, but I did know of him and we had had several conversations together. As soon as I left church that day, I applied for the internship and sure enough, I'm here. So ministry aside, I have improved on a couple of things since I've been here. One of those being talking in front of a camera. I didn't know that that was a skill that I would ever need to have or that it was any different than talking to a person. But it's completely different and I learned a lot. You have to know what you're going to say and how you're going to say it, and it's very difficult to get your words together. Since I've been here, I've been shooting a weekly vlog and posting it to YouTube, and this past Sunday I even did the announcement video. Both of those things involve talking to a camera, and I was terrible at it at the beginning, but I've gotten a little more comfortable with it. Second thing, I have a reading disability. It's called visual tracking, and it's where my pupils don't dilate at the same speeds. So I'll be reading along and I just get lost. The easiest way to describe it is it's like having dyslexia, but it makes me struggle to read. The thing that I would say that I have improved on is my reading ability. I'm reading 3 books this summer with Stephen, and that has definitely helped. The first one is Deep and Wide by Andy Stanley, and it basically talks about the target audience for a church, if it's for church people or unchurched people, being believers or non-believers, and it goes into detail about that. The second one is 7 Practices of Effective Ministry, and that one is just like it sounds, also written by Andy Stanley. I finished up that second book this past week, and we are going to be starting Extreme Ownership, how U.S. Navy SEALs lead and win. That will start this next Monday. Having a reading disability has really caused a lot of anxiety when it comes to reading in front of people. So what I try to do is I volunteer to read, passages of scripture, or I'm even leading the high school small group. So I typically read the entire passage, and it's just improved my reading speed and overall being comfortable in front of an audience when I read. So last thing I want to share this week. Yesterday I went to Starbucks because I had a gift card, and I saw a guy outside advertising some sort of martial arts program that he is doing. When I was parking, he noticed that I had an Arkansas license plate, and he commented on it, but really all we did was introduce ourselves and shake hands. On my way out, he asked me if I was moving to the area, and that's what sparked the conversation. I saw that as an opportunity to let him know what church I was interning at and that I was an intern of the church, and he was very interested. He said that he and his wife had recently stepped down from their position in some sort of ministry. He also said that he's living in Georgetown, but he's also commuting to this church that he goes to in Austin. I tell you this because he was interested in the church solely in the fact that we were meeting in an elementary school every week. He loved the idea that we meet in an elementary school, set up and tear down every week, and make it work. He likes that it's not a traditional take on what a church should be. God tells us not to be selfish with the gospel, so we're called to go out and tell people about Him and invite them to church. If you're scared of being turned down, don't be. chances are they're going to at least be interested that a church meets in an elementary school. That's all I have for this week. Thanks for watching. This is Jake. I'll see you Sunday.